The Mystery Record of the Buddha Transmitted Through the Zen Sect Lineage, 2nd edition. Author Nguyen Nan. HCMC Culture and Arts Publishing House. Legal deposit submitted in the second quarter of 2019. Preface. Dear readers, very few people who study or practice Buddhism have ever heard of the mystery record taught by the Buddha. Why? Because this mystery record contains the formula for the sixth method, Tathagata Pure Zen. In this method, the Buddha clearly taught 8 parts: the structure and the dissolution of the human body and human nature, the duties of the 6 species coexisting on this earth, the formation and lifespan of the earth, the origins of reincarnation and how karma arises, the results of the Buddha's 6 paths of practice, the source from which the Buddha drew his teachings for his disciples, the reason why the Buddha did not teach this 6th method publicly, but transmitted it secretly through the Zen Sect lineage with 4 verses of poetry. The meaning of the following 4 verses: no dependence on words or letters, a special transmission outside the scriptures, directly pointing to the true nature, seeing into one's nature and attaining Buddhahood. We must inform you that because the Buddha taught this 6th method with such clarity, practicality, and scientific precision, those practicing his first 5 methods, which involve attaining and achieving, did not accept it. Why? Because it did not align with the desires of practitioners at that time. Therefore, the Buddha had to transmit it secretly through the Zen Sect lineage, to be popularized only during the end of the Highest Dharma era, when human civilization has reached a high level. However, even in a highly civilized age, only a few will accept it, while the majority will seek every way to suppress it. Lord Shakyamuni Buddha taught as follows: revealing this 6th method will overturn the first 5 methods I taught. Therefore, those practicing the first 5 methods will seek to abolish it. The Buddha also taught, on this earth every 10,000 years an all-powerful and all-enlightened one appears to speak the truth about humanity, all things, the earth, karma, reincarnation, the formula for enjoying yang or yin karmic merit, and the formula to return to the Buddha realm. However, because 98% of Buddhist practitioners prefer achieving and attaining, no one accepted it. Thus, the Buddha relied on the patriarchs to secretly transmit it through the Zen Sect lineage. Only in the end of the Highest Dharma era, when humanity is highly civilized and understands space civilization, would this 6th Dharma be popularized and announced. Today, the 6th Dharma is being popularized and announced by Zen Master Nunduk Tao, the head of Tandu Zen Sect Pagoda. Having researched and discovered these teachings, we have compiled them into a book titled, The Mystery Record of the Buddha Transmitted Through the Zen Sect Lineage. We publish this to offer it to interested readers. Those who are not interested, please do not read it. Regarding this mystery record, we suggest 3 things to our readers. First, read with a clear and discerning mind. Second, believe only if it is logical. Third, if it is not logical, please do not believe. To be clear, the Buddha did not write this mystery record as a formal sutra. Instead, he only spoke the teachings for his disciples to record. Finally, after these disciples presented their records to the Buddha for his review, he officially named it the mystery record. The Buddha spoke this mystery record in his 48th year of teaching, which was the final year before he entered nirvana. It was recorded by 15 of his disciples, those who had attained the essentials of pure Zen. Finally, the Buddha handed this mystery record to Mahakasyapa and designated him as the first patriarch, entrusting him to transmit it secretly through the Zen Sect lineage. This is why the mystery record is not found in the common scriptures. Nevertheless, anyone who studies the common sutras taught by the Buddha will find mentions of the hidden terms revealed in this mystery record. Why did the Buddha not popularize this 6th Dharma like the common scriptures but instead had to transmit it secretly? We would like to quote a small portion of the reasons taught by the Buddha in his mystery record as follows. In ancient times, the beliefs of the Indian people were divided into 2 groups. The first group, the common people, believed that the earth was created by God. Humans and all things were also made by God. On both shoulders of every human being, there are 2 deities who score that person's good or evil deeds. When a person passes away, judges evaluate the extent of their good and evil deeds to present to Yama, the king of hell. If they have done much good, Yama reports to God to allow them into heaven to enjoy eternal happiness. If they have done much evil, Yama orders Oxhead and Horseface to imprison them in the levels of hell for punishment. The second group, practitioners, believed that the earth was born of the Creator. Humans and all things were also made by the Creator. They also believed that for humans living on this earth, there are two paths after death. Doing good leads to being reborn in the heavenly realms to enjoy blessings. Doing evil leads to being exiled to hell to receive the bad consequences they created themselves in this world. Consequently, the first type of practitioner advocated two main practices: daily repentance for their wrongful actions, praying to the Creator to be brought to the kingdom of heaven, so they would no longer suffer in this world. The second type of practitioner believed that the only way to cleanse the sins they had committed was to bathe in the Ganges River. Only then would their sins be washed away. And there were many other beliefs as well. The above are what the ancient people of India believed and practiced. It should also be clearly stated, in ancient India, each region was governed by a king. In the kingdom of Kapilavastu, there was King Suddhodana and his wife Maya. Queen Maya gave birth to a son named Siddhartha, who was designated as the crown prince to later succeed the throne of Kapilavastu. Upon reaching adulthood, the prince had a wife and child like many others. However, he did not believe in the practices of the people or the teachings of the monastics. Prince Siddhartha had 4 questions as follows. Where do humans come from to reach this world? Why come to this world only to suffer through birth, aging, illness, and death? While alive, why do humans compete, struggle, and kill one another, only to eventually abandon everything? Where do we go after death? No one, neither the highly educated scholars in the royal court, the common people, nor even the most renowned monastics, could provide him with a satisfying explanation. The prince was a man of firm determination, resolved to find the answers to his 4 questions. Because of that resolve, he eventually came to know the truth. How did Prince Siddhartha come to know it? Through practicing pure Zen, the prince attained the 3 insights and 6 supernatural powers, and the 5 eyes as follows. The 3 insights, 3 kinds of clarity. Insight of the celestial eye, seeing throughout the 3 realms which we now call a solar system. Insight of past lives, having full knowledge of all humans and beings within the 3 realms. Insight of the extinction of outflows, knowing the ultimate physical and spiritual nature of a human being on earth or within the 3 realms. The 5 eyes, his 5 ways of seeing. The physical eye, his ordinary human eyes. The celestial eye, his heavenly eyes, which saw and knew the heavenly realms within the 3 realms as follows. Saw and knew there are 33 heavenly realms. Saw and knew there are 6 pure lands. Saw and knew there are 5 other planets similar to this earth. Saw and knew there are countless material planets composed of metal, wood, water, fire, earth, air, and yin-yang electromagnetism. The wisdom eye, his wisdom eyes, which saw and knew invisible realms composed of multicolored or colorless yin-yang electromagnetism. The Dharma eye, his Dharma eyes, which saw and knew the birth or destruction in every ksana, moment, of a dust mote, as well as the birth and destruction of every planet within the 3 realms. 1 ksana is currently understood as 1/10 of a second. The Buddha eye, his eyes that saw and knew everything throughout the entire cosmos, such as the smallest objects are microdust, which we call atoms, the shortest electric waves, which he called electrons, the largest objects are planets. Using the Buddha eye, he saw and knew the following. 1 solar system he called a 3 realms, 1,003 realms he called a small 1,000-world system, 1,000,000 3 realms he called a middle 1,000-world system, 1,000,000,000 3 realms he called a great 1,000-world system, 1,000,000,000,000 3 realms he called a billion-fold great 1,000-world system, the 3,000 great 1,000-world system. Through his Buddha eye, he saw that within this cosmos, there are countless such billion-fold great 1,000-world systems. The Buddha wanted to convey his vision and knowledge to the people of his country, but when he spoke, they said he was insane. Why did his people say that? Because they believed that the earth was created by the Supreme God. Humanity was the same. Wealth was a blessing bestowed by the Supreme God. In short, the earth and all life upon it were determined by the Supreme God. When Prince Siddhartha practiced pure Zen and attained the 3 insights, 6 supernatural powers, and 5 eyes, he saw and knew the truths mentioned above, but there was no way to make his people accept them. The Buddha returned to the royal palace to visit his father, and intended to enlighten those in the royal family. However, when he spoke, no one accepted it. Instead, they claimed he was a teacher of a heretical path. In the palace, his royal uncle, Tintan, sharply questioned him. You said you left the palace to practice and have now attained the way. So what do you have as proof? The Buddha respectfully replied to his uncle. Respected uncle, I left the palace to practice pure Zen and have attained the 3 insights, 6 supernatural powers, and the 5 eyes. Uncle Tintan asked. Then prove to me and the members of the royal family what it is that you see and know. The Buddha presented the following to his royal uncle Tintan. I would like to present what I see and know through my Buddha eye as follows. On this earth, nothing can escape the law of formation-state extinction. All animals and plants are reproduced through the formula of yin-yang physics. Nothing remains stationary. Everything must continuously circulate to exist. Furthermore, regarding what you, the royal court, and the people of Kapilavastu believe, that the earth, humanity, and all things were born of and created by the Supreme God, I would like to state, within each of the 3 realms, there is a Supreme God who governs the kingdom of the Supreme God. In this vast cosmos there are countless such Supreme Gods. Using my Buddha eye, I observe that the Supreme God is simply a king of heaven ruling over the kingdom of the Supreme God. He too is subject to reincarnation just like any other celestial being. It is just like my father, the king. Although my father is the king of Kapilavastu, he is still subject to birth, aging, illness, and death just like any common person. He does not stand outside this law. Upon hearing the Buddha's presentation, which was exceptionally logical, Uncle Tintan was completely convinced in both heart and mind. He praised. Truly, your understanding surpasses all others. You are worthy of being a greatly enlightened one. Therefore, I shall grant you these few words. Siddhartha's wisdom is beyond compare. Your uncle praises with a heart laid bare. My mind is clear and no longer bound to belief in deities and saints, since your truth I found. The deities and saint I once misunderstood. Now your enlightenment makes all things good. On behalf of all our kin today, I thank you for showing us the way. Now as Shakyamuni, the Buddha true, you teach your uncle with a vision new. This earthly realm is a place of ties, where physical cycles cause painful cries. I know not how to express my grace, for teaching the path to the unborn place. Now I speak it clearly and aloud. Siddhartha is Buddha, of whom we are proud. Royal Uncle Tintan recited these 16 verses of poetry, Gatha, to the Tathagata, confirming that the Tathagata had attained Buddhahood. In response, the Tathagata presented 12 verses back to his uncle. First time I teach within these palace walls. My heart rejoices as your wisdom calls. For humans suffer through the ego's pride. In 1,000-year delusions they reside. I am glad to the palace I have returned. The way to our ancient home you have learned. I wish you through the day and the night to live in Buddha nature with pure insight. I grant you the word stop as my gift. Stop the reincarnation, let yourself drift. Pure Zen, a single word is hard to keep. May you stop to leave the perils so deep. Upon hearing the 12 verses from the Tathagata confirming that he had understood the way of pure Zen, Royal Uncle Tintan became choked with emotion and said to the Tathagata, I thank you with all my heart, my nephew. I will strive to practice what you have taught. The royal uncle spoke with tears welling in his eyes, causing everyone in the palace to be moved to tears as well. During this exchange, an official of rituals named Tien and respectfully asked the Tathagata, Respected Gautama, the one of great insight and great enlightenment, we have heard your presentation and find it most reasonable. Thus, how do you intend to popularize this pure Zen Dharma? The Tathagata replied, Most people only pray for the Supreme God to grant them blessings, seeking to be children of the Supreme God, and to live in His kingdom, etc. The Tathagata continued, Furthermore, many others spend their days praying to deities, prostrating before this deity or that saint to beg for favors. They even build shrines to worship animals such as buffaloes, cows, tigers, etc. Such deep delusion makes it impossible for me to speak these ultimate truths to them. The official Tianan remarked, That is truly difficult. The Tathagata continued, Because it is so difficult, I will popularize it in 2 ways. First, I will teach those who follow my path 5 methods of practice that yield achievements within the earth's laws of cause and effect, so they will be eager to come and study. Those 5 methods are as follows: meditation of visualization, imagination, and wishing, turning small objects into large ones, or few into many, etc. Analytical logic performed exceptionally well, to win the praise of others. Meditation of investigation, seeking or finding material utilities to make human life less arduous. Recitation of the Buddha's name to see the illusory image of a Buddha. Chanting of mantras to witness the transformation of matter so that those around them perceive it as miraculous. Among these many practitioners, if I find anyone who wishes to know the truth of the earth and escape the cycle of birth and death, I will find a way to teach them privately. Thanks to these 5 methods of practice that produce results within the earth's karmic reincarnation, my path can be transmitted until the Dharma ending age. In that age, only those with high education will accept my teachings as the truth. However, there will still be some who will not accept it, including those who do not desire enlightenment and liberation, those who follow my path but are obsessed with material wealth. In short, those who do not wish to return to the Buddha realm will not like practicing this 6th Dharma. Highly educated people in the Dharma ending age might even ridicule my path as a religion of divine powers. Before returning to the Buddha realm, I had my disciples write down the mystery record, revealing the truth about humans, all things, the earth, the 3 realms, the Buddha realm, the cosmos, the laws of cause and effect, etc., to be entrusted to the patriarchs to pass down to future generations, so that in the Dharma ending age it may be popularized and announced to the intellectual world. I also tell you my mystery record transmitted through the Zen Sect lineage is for those with practical and scientific knowledge to read. They will know the truth of the 6 species living together on this earth. I established this path with the primary purpose of teaching followers to attain enlightenment and liberation, returning to the origin of every person, the Buddha realm. Royal Uncle Tintan intervened. So what are your plans? The Tathagata submitted to his uncle. Respected uncle, I too do not know what else to do. For this world is a material world, and no one can easily give it up. Royal Uncle Tintan spoke again. If you establish a path, you must have a set of principles and internal regulations, do you not? The Tathagata replied. Yes, I have clear principles and regulations, but who is willing to listen and follow them? Royal Uncle Tintan asked further. My nephew, let me ask you this. Why do you not let the Tathagata Pure Zen Dharma be popularized before the Dharma ending age, but must wait until that time? The Tathagata answered. Respected uncle, because this Tathagata Pure Zen Dharma must wait until human civilization has reached a very high level. When many people understand where human civilization is stored in this space, only then will people accept it. Before that time, no one would accept it at all. Royal Uncle Tintan asked again. My nephew, when your mystery record is published, will it be convenient? The Tathagata replied. Respected uncle, before the mystery record is published, the laws of that land will allow freedom of belief, so it will be very favorable. Royal Uncle Tintan asked further. Let me ask a few more questions. How civilized will humanity be in the Dharma ending age? Tell me and those present here so we may hear. The Tathagata replied. Respected uncle, when human civilization reaches a very high level, they will achieve the following. Regarding transportation, on land, they will manufacture many types of vehicles that carry many people and goods, running 100 times faster than the swiftest animals today. In the air, they will manufacture many types of aircraft that carry many people and goods, flying nearly at the speed of sound. On water, they will manufacture many types of boats and ships that carry many people and goods, also traveling very fast. Regarding housing, they will build structures 50 to 70 stories high, 10 or 20 times taller than the highest trees today. They will ascend to high floors using elevators powered by electricity. Regarding lighting, they will use electricity for illumination. Regarding warfare, they will create vehicles made of iron. They will create guns, ammunition, and bombs. One pull of a trigger can kill dozens of people. One press of a button, and a bomb can kill hundreds of thousands or even millions. Regarding communication, they will speak to each other through telephones, using electric waves to transmit voice and images. Standing here in Kapilavastu, they can talk to someone in China as if 2 people were standing close together. and they can even see each other's faces. Royal Uncle Tintan continued to ask Prince Siddhartha, in the Dharma ending age, humanity will kill each other so terribly. Is there any way to help people of that era live together in harmony? The Tathagata replied, Respected uncle, in my mystery record transmitted through the pure Zen lineage, I have stated two ideas. People of the Dharma ending age, especially the most influential national leaders on earth, if they read my mystery record, they will know that they, like everyone else, possess two natures. First, the Buddha nature, pure and serene. Second, the human nature, greedy, envious, cruel, dogmatic, etc. If these leaders know how to utilize their Buddha nature, humanity will live in peace longer, and this earth will endure a bit further. But if leaders live predominantly by their human nature, then humanity and all things on earth will perish very quickly. Royal Uncle Tintan asked again, Do you predict that in the Dharma ending age, humanity will know how to use their Buddha nature? The Tathagata replied, Respected uncle, I predict that humanity will utilize their human nature to the maximum. Why do I predict so? Because people on earth follow the law of survival of the fittest. If the world's leaders read my mystery record secretly transmitted through the pure Zen lineage and clearly understand and accept it, then disaster will not come quickly to them. But if they utilize the four traits of human nature, imagination, greed, cruelty, and dogma, then do not hope for anyone to save them. Royal Uncle Tintan said, I pray for humanity not to use their human nature, so that this earth may endure long. The Tathagata said, Uncle, you have misunderstood again. On this earth, whom can we pray to now? Pray to the deities? Deities have no power to interfere in human affairs. Pray to heaven? Heaven belongs to the realm of celestial beings. How can they descend to earth to help humanity? Pray to the Buddhas? Buddhas reside in the Buddha realm and cannot interfere in the karma of this earth. Instead, humans should plead with the leaders of this world. Please do not use your human nature, but use your own Buddha nature, so that humanity may live in peace and longevity. Royal Uncle Tintan said to the Tathagata, I have been ignorant once more. He then asked further, My nephew, your mystery record transmitted through the Zen Sect lineage, to be published at the end of the Dharma ending age, what is its primary purpose? Will the disciples who follow your path support it? The Tathagata submitted to his uncle, Respected uncle, the primary purpose of my mystery record, secretly transmitted through the Zen Sect lineage, is to teach anyone following my path enlightenment, which is to clearly and thoroughly understand the following. How is a human formed? Why do humans exist? What is the mission of a human on this earth? How is this earth formed? Who made it? How many species live on this earth? What is the mission of each species? Why can this earth generate cause and effect? Most importantly, I teach my followers the formula to return to each person's ancient home, the Buddha realm. Later, I will write in the sutras and call this liberation. How is the three realms organized? How many species live within these three realms? And many other matters. I shall answer your next point. In the final stage of the Dharma ending age, only 40% of my followers will support it, while 60% will oppose it, claiming that my mystery record transmitted through the Zen Sect lineage is not the truth. Royal Uncle Tintan asked Prince Siddhartha, The Zen Sect Dharma is the essence of humanity. Why would 60% of your followers not accept it? The Tathagata submitted to his uncle, Respected uncle, in the final stage of the Dharma ending age, material wealth in this world will be very abundant. Thus, those following my path will not like to practice for liberation, but only for money liberation. Therefore, when my mystery record is published, those greedy for money liberation will not support it. Royal Uncle Tintan said to the Tathagata, Will you establish internal regulations to apply to your followers? The Tathagata replied, Respected uncle, on this earth, regulations are established for those without greed. For those with a powerful sense of greed, regulations mean nothing. I describe the greed of human nature as follows. Owning 1,000 acres of land but still wanting to buy more. Having enough money to spend for 10 lifetimes but still wanting to earn more. Royal Uncle Tintan, quite frustrated, said, You established a path of enlightenment and liberation, so you must find a way to teach these excessively greedy people. So let me ask, do you teach your disciples to perform offerings? The Tathagata submitted to his uncle. No, I only teach my disciples 5 methods of practice that yield achievements according to the earth's karma and 1 dharma of enlightenment and liberation. I never teach them to perform offerings. Royal Uncle Tin Ton muttered. Your path is so practical, yet people do not practice it correctly, spending all day doing superstitious things instead. Royal Uncle Tin Ton said to the Tathagata one last time, you must write very strict regulations. Do not let any practitioner do these wrong things. After speaking, the royal uncle went to his resting chamber. Everyone present felt sad for the path of enlightenment and liberation taught by the Tathagata. Finishing the conversation with his uncle, the Tathagata quietly left the palace and returned to his serene chamber. Collected and rewritten by author Nguyen Nan. The Buddha taught, anyone following Buddhism who wishes to practice correctly must clearly understand the 6 dharmas of practice and their respective achievements. Therefore, I invite those who wish to practice correctly to learn about the 6 dharmas taught by the Buddha. The first dharma, called Hinayana, also known as primitive or southern Buddhism. This dharma consists of 37 methods of meditation and imagination. It yields achievements according to the desires of the practitioner. The second dharma, called Madhyamana, also known as the philosophical dharma, intended for those who enjoy analytical logic. The third dharma, called Mahayana, also known as the developmental dharma, intended for those who enjoy exploring material utilities. The fourth dharma, called Buddha recitation, also known as the Pure Land Buddhism, intended for those who enjoy reciting the Buddha's name. The fifth dharma, called mantra chanting, also known as the esoteric Buddhism, intended for those who enjoy chanting mantras. The sixth dharma, called the Zen Sect, also known as the Tathagata Pure Zen, intended for those who desire enlightenment and liberation. The Buddha taught 6 dharmas of practice with the following sutras and books. The Hinayana Dharma. The Buddha taught 2 sutras, Agama Sutra and Daya Nikaya. Formula of practice. There are 37 methods of meditation and imagination as follows. Meditation to know one's body is impermanent. Meditation to know one's body is non-self. Meditation to know one's body is impure. Meditation to radiate compassion from within. Meditation on the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Meditation on breathing, Anapanasati. Meditation on the attainment of cessation. Meditation to extinguish the feeling, Vedana, of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the imagination, Sana, of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the volitional formations, Sankhara, of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the consciousness, Vijnana, of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the greed for wealth of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the greed for beauty of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the greed for fame of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the greed for food of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the greed for sleep of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the greed of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the anger of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the delusion of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the arrogance of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the doubt of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the cruelty of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the eternalist dogma of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the annihilationist dogma of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the illusory imagination of human nature. Meditation to use Buddha nature to slay human nature, Vipassana. Meditation to transform matter. Meditation to make one's body and mind immobile. Meditation to see the ghost realm, becoming a psychic. Meditation to see deities, becoming a seer of deities. Meditation to see the truth in space, called a clairvoyant. Meditation to know that matter is impermanent, called a physicist. Meditation to see what is truly eternal on this earth, called an enlightened one. Meditation to clearly see the 8 paths of reincarnation, once seen, called a practitioner of the Eightfold Path. Meditation to see and know the path back to the Buddha realm, called a liberated person. Meditation to know the past and future of others, called having telepathy. Meditation to know the future of this world, called a great prophet. The Madhyamana Dharma. The Buddha taught in the Prajna Sutra. Formula of practice. Sitting and performing exceptional analytical logic on topics such as politics, economics, culture, society, marriage and family, farming, etc. The Mahayana Dharma. The Buddha taught various sutras: Diamond Lankavatara, Perfect Enlightenment, Great Compassion, Avatamsaka, Shurangama, Sutra of 42 Chapters, Medicine Buddha, Lotus Sutra, etc. Formula of practice: sitting and contemplating material utilities. The Pure Land Sect. The Buddha taught 2 sutras: Infinite Life Sutra and Amitabha Sutra. Formula of practice: sitting and reciting Namo Amitabha Buddha. Recite until the sound flows naturally, and one can see the image of Amitabha Buddha. The Esoteric Sect. The Buddha taught taking mantras from various sutras. To exorcise evil, take the mantra from the Shurangama Sutra. For peace and joy, take the mantra from the Great Compassion Dharni. To be a healing master, take the mantra from the Medicine Buddha Sutra. Formula of practice: sitting and reciting the mantra until it becomes miraculous. The Zen Sect Dharma. The Buddha taught in his mystery record, consisting of 24 chapters and these 4 lines: no dependence on words, a special transmission outside the scriptures, pointing directly to the true nature, seeing one's nature and becoming a Buddha. This 6th Dharma is suitable only for those who desire to escape the karmic reincarnation of the earth and these 3 realms to return to the Buddha realm. Is not suitable for 6 types of people: those who like to plead with others, those who like to prostrate before others, those who like to perform offerings to others, those who like to be children of others, those who like to deceive others, those who like to be masters of others. The Buddha did not write this 6th Dharma into common sutras or books for 4 reasons. This 6th Dharma was taken by the Buddha from a place unknown to ordinary people. Thus, he did not teach it commonly to the public. This 6th Dharma is very averse to those greedy for fame and money. Thus, the Buddha did not teach it to many. When this 6th Dharma is taught, many people curse it as a heretical path. Thus, the Buddha did not teach it in crowded places. When this 6th Dharma is taught, many consider it a fabrication. Thus, the Buddha had to teach it privately to those who truly desired it. Therefore, the Buddha had to wait for Venerable Ananda, Mahakāsyapa, and 13 others to plead with him, on the condition that Mahakāsyapa must transmit it secretly through the Zen Sect lineage. The Buddha then recited the 24 chapters teaching this 6th Dharma. This 6th Dharma is called Tathagata Pure Zen. By the time of Venerable Ananda, the 2nd Patriarch, it was called the Zen Sect. Why was the name changed? Because this 6th Dharma is transmitted privately outside the common scriptures through a lineage of Zen, passed only between patriarchs. Thus, it earned the name Zen Sect, meaning a Dharma transmitted through a private sectarian method. The Buddha taught that those studying the Zen Sect must possess 3 parts. Part 1. One must have the following resolve: a practical and scientific mind. Do not believe anything others say without verification. Do not believe words that are vague. Do not fear words that are threatening. Pay attention to words that are illusory promises. Part 2. One must have extraordinary wisdom and absolutely no trace of delusion. Part 3. One must understand the basics of the 6 species living together on Earth, and the mission of each species. The origin of the Buddha's mystery record secretly transmitted through the Zen Sect lineage. I am the author Nguyen Nan. I respectfully present this Zen Sect study to my readers for your review and feedback. However, I have 4 points to suggest to the readers. Part 1. I am merely an author. I do not follow any formal religious practice. Part 2. In 1952, I was gifted the Buddha's mystery record by Mr. Huyen Thach, a traditional medicine practitioner and owner of the Hoa Nam Chinese medicine shop, located at 82 Tran Quy Street, District 11, Ho Chi Minh City, next to Thiek Market. This record was secretly passed down by the Zen Sect patriarchs for future generations. He translated it from Han Chinese into Vietnamese. Part 3. In February 1958, I was gifted this entire mystery record by Mrs. Batra, the owner of the Saigon Moi newspaper, located at 2 Pham Nga Lao Street, Ben Ton Ward, in front of Ben Ton Market. She translated it from the Nam script version of King Tran Nan Tong, who had translated it from Han Chinese to Nam, after publishing a series of articles in her newspaper titled Buddhist Zen Sect Gathas. Part 4. On October 15, 1958, my mother, Tran Thi Lu, whose Dharma name was Zen Master Nun Duk Tao, handed me this same mystery record translated into Vietnamese, along with 3 other books. The Buddha teaches the practice of the Zen Sect. The Zen Sect White Paper. King Tran Nan Tong teaches his children on national defense, beliefs, and the truth of this earth. She taught me 2 things. I entrust these 4 books to you. Read and research the Buddha's teachings very carefully. If you recognize the profound meaning within these books, when the time is right, write them into books and apply for publication in accordance with the law. For these books are very practical and scientific. This mystery record is indeed the 6th Dharma taught by the Buddha, containing very clear teachings and regulations of Zen Sect Buddhism. It eliminates superstition so that the Vietnamese people may remain wise in caring for their families and the fatherland. Obeying my mother's wishes, I sequentially wrote 9 books about this Zen Sect study. Today, I am publishing this mystery record for readers to reference and evaluate its authenticity. Since this record was written by the Buddha's disciples 2,560 years ago, it surely may not perfectly reflect the Buddha's original intent. I would like to list the linguistic translations this mystery record has undergone. First, the Buddha wrote it in the language of the Sakya clan, which people at that time called Sakya language. The Sakya clan used the Magadhi language. The book was transmitted through the Zen Sect lineage. By the time of the 4th Zen Patriarch Upagupta, born 98 years after the Buddha entered Nirvana, it was translated into Pali. By the 12th Zen Patriarch Ashvaghosha, born 434 years after the Buddha entered Nirvana, it was translated into Prakrit. By the 21st Zen Patriarch Vajrabandhu, born 771 years after the Buddha entered Nirvana, it was translated into Sanskrit. By the 24th Zen Patriarch Aryasimha, born 880 years after the Buddha entered Nirvana, it was translated into the language of the Agama tribe. By the 28th Zen Patriarch Bodhidharma, born 1002 years after the Buddha entered Nirvana, it was translated into the Han Chinese of ancient China. By the 33rd Zen Patriarch Huineng, born 1924 years after the Buddha entered Nirvana, the books were decaying and had to be buried. Thus, this patriarch petitioned Empress Wu Zetian for sponsorship of paper and brushes to transcribe 600 copies, also in Han Chinese. Up to this point, the Buddha's mystery record, secretly transmitted through the Zen Sect lineage, has been translated and transcribed 8 times. I do not know if it still matches the original. This is my collection. If anyone knows better, please provide us with information. Zen Master Nhan Duc Tao taught me. In Vietnamese literature, there is a saying Tam sa that bon, meaning that after just 3 copies, the content may differ significantly from the original. This mystery record has been copied many times in many languages. It certainly cannot be identical to the original. Furthermore, in the 7th transcription, many people were involved, not just one, making it even less likely to be exactly like the first version. In 1710, the 34th Zen Patriarch, Jungujiak Hong King Tran Nan Tong, translated it from ancient Han Chinese into the Nam script of Dai Viet. By 1950, 2,500 years after the Buddha entered Nirvana, Zen Master Nhan Duc Tao was gifted this mystery record in modern Vietnamese by MasterTic Duc Ha. I, author Nguyen Nan, received the Buddha's mystery record transmitted through the Zen Sect lineage from the 3 sources mentioned above, and do not know if it is right or wrong. Because it was written so long ago, I have carefully researched it for 50 years. Today, as I compile and publish it, I have 3 suggestions for the readers. Read and judge with your own clear intellect. Believe what is logical. If it is not logical, discard it or return it to the seller for a full refund and travel expenses. If you have any questions, please come to Tandu Zen Sect Pagoda on any Sunday. We will provide answers. For any experts who wish to challenge or question any point, please come to Tandu Zen Sect Pagoda on Sundays. We will organize a questioning session, and I will invite lawyers and local authorities to attend. The management board of Tandu Zen Sect Pagoda will cover all costs. There is no limit on participants. Respectfully announced to the readers. Author Nguyen Nan. The 24 chapters of the Buddha's mystery record secretly transmitted through the Zen Sect lineage. Buddhism with its 6 dharmas, sutras and formulas of practice. Pagodas practicing Buddhism must clearly display a signboard of their specific dharma. The organizational operations of Zen Sect Buddhism. The tenet of Zen Sect Buddhism. The principles of Zen Sect Buddhism. The precepts for practitioners of Zen Sect Buddhism. The regulations for the Management Board of Zen Sect Buddhism. The ranks and levels of practitioners in Zen Sect Buddhism. The rituals of Zen Sect Buddhism. The attire of Zen Sect Buddhism. The ritual for the secret Zen transmission. The ritual for conferring the title of Zen Master or Lay Zen Master. Form templates and certificates of Zen Sect Buddhism. The teachings of Zen Sect Buddhism. The discipline, regulations and provisions for those participating in Zen Sect Buddhist activities. The earth and the 6 species living together and the mission of each species. Cause and effect and reincarnation in Zen Sect Buddhism. The Eightfold Path in Zen Sect Buddhism. Chanting sutras for offerings in Zen Sect Buddhism. Repentance sutras in Zen Sect Buddhism. Standards for practitioners of Zen Sect Buddhism. Gathas transmitted by the Buddha through the Zen Sect lineage. The structure of the 3 realms and the cosmos in Zen Sect Buddhism. The Buddha's answers to disciples' questions regarding Zen Sect Buddhism. Chapter 1. Buddhism with its 6 dharmas, sutras, and formulas of practice. The first dharma, Hinayana, also known as primitive or southern Buddhism. The Tathagata wrote the following. The Agama Sutra. The Daya Nikaya. For practitioners of the primitive dharma to exert effort in their practice. To be preached to those who wish to listen and understand. This dharma consists of 37 methods of meditation, contemplation, including meditation to know one's body is impermanent, meditation to know one's body is non-self, meditation to know one's body is impure and foul, meditation to radiate compassion from within one's body, meditation on the 4 foundations of mindfulness, meditation on breathing, anapanasati. Meditation on the attainment of cessation. Meditation to extinguish the feeling, Vedana, of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the imagination, Sana, of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the volitional formations, Sankhara, of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the consciousness, Vijnana, of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the greed for wealth of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the greed for beauty of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the greed for fame of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the greed for food of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the greed for sleep of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the greed of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the anger of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the delusion of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the arrogance of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the doubt of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the cruelty of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the eternalist dogma of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the annihilationist dogma of human nature. Meditation to extinguish the illusory imagination of human nature. Meditation on enlightenment kills intelligence. Vipassana. Meditation to transform matter. Meditation to make one's body and mind immobile. Meditation to see the ghost realm, becoming a psychic. Meditation to see deities, becoming a seer of deities. Meditation to see the truth in space, called a clairvoyant. Meditation to see that matter is impermanent, called a physicist. Meditation to see what is true nature on this earth, called an enlightened one. Meditation to clearly see the 8 paths of reincarnation, called a practitioner of the Eightfold Path. Meditation to know the path back to the Buddha realm, called a liberated person. Meditation to know one's own past and future, called having telepathy. Meditation to know the future of the earth, called a prophet. The second dharma, Madhyamayana. The Tathagata wrote, the Prajna Sutra, to inform practitioners of the Madhyamayana Dharma, to be preached to those who wish to listen and understand. Method of practice. Sitting and performing analytical logic on the following. Human life and the universe. Economics, politics, society, marriage and family, agriculture, forestry, fishery, etc. Whichever subject is preached exceptionally well, the speaker is called a preaching master. The third dharma, Mahayana. The Tathagata wrote the following sutras. Diamond, Shurangama, Perfect Enlightenment, Avadamsaka, Mahaparinirvana, Lankavatara, Sutra of 42 chapters, Lotus Sutra, etc. For practitioners of the Mahayana Dharma to exert effort in their practice. to be preached to those who wish to listen and understand. Method of practice: sitting and contemplating material utilities to reduce human hardship. Becoming a Buddhist engineer. The fourth Dharma, the Pure Land Sect. The Tathagata wrote 2 sutras, the Infinite Life Sutra, the Infinite Light Sutra, to inform practitioners of this Dharma. Method of practice: sitting and reciting the name of Namo Amitabha Buddha. Recite until the act of reciting ceases, yet the name Namo Amitabha Buddha continues to flow naturally. This is success. The fifth Dharma, the Esoteric Sect. The Tathagata taught practitioners to take mantras from the following sutras: Shurangama Medicine Buddha, Avatamsaka, Great Compassion Sutra, etc., to recite so that the miraculous phenomena desired by the practitioner may manifest. Method of practice: reciting the mantra until it becomes miraculous. This is success. The sixth Dharma, the Zen Sect. The Tathagata taught this in the mystery record, secretly transmitted through the Zen Sect lineage, to be popularized only at the end of the Highest Dharma Age at the land of the dragon within the country of the dragon, to assist those who desire enlightenment and liberation in their practice. Method of practice: learning to understand everything from humans and all things to the earth, the 3 realms, the Buddha realm, the cosmos, the laws of cause and effect and reincarnation, and the formula to return to the Buddha realm. Answering those with inquiries. Preaching is not permitted. Generating as much transcendental merit as possible to bring back to the Buddha realm to form a pure Dharma body house and a golden Buddha body. Chapter 2. Buddhist pagodas must display signboards in accordance with specifications, clearly stating the Dharma of practice and its achievements. Why must the pagoda signboards be displayed so clearly? Because the Tathagata's 6 dharmas of practice are drawn from the natural civilization that has existed in space since eternity, taught to those who practice the Tathagata's way. This is the truth within these 3 realms. Therefore, all who practice the Tathagata's way must be realistic and scientific-minded individuals, so that outsiders do not look down upon the Tathagata's way as superstition. Consequently, those who practice the Tathagata's way must clearly display a signboard stating which Dharma they follow and what its achievements are. The Tathagata provides instructions for displaying the signboards for the 6 dharmas of practice. 1. If a pagoda practices the Hinayana Dharma, also known as primitive or southern Buddhism, it must display the following signboard. Name pagoda. Practicing the Hinayana Dharma. Clearly state the achievements of this Hinayana Dharma. 2. If a pagoda practices the Madhyamana Dharma, also known as the philosophy of Shakyamuni Buddha, it must display the following signboard. Name pagoda. Practicing the Madhyamana Dharma. Clearly state the achievements of the Madhyamana Dharma. 3. If a pagoda practices the Mahayana Dharma, also known as development Buddhism, it must display the following signboard. Name pagoda. Practicing the Mahayana Dharma. Clearly state the achievements of the Mahayana Dharma. 4. If a pagoda practices the Buddha recitation Dharma, also known as the Pure Land Sect, it must display the following signboard. Name pagoda. Practicing the Pure Land Sect Dharma. Clearly state the achievements of this Pure Land Sect Dharma. 5. If a pagoda practices the mantra recitation Dharma, also known as the Esoteric Sect, it must display the following signboard. Name pagoda. Practicing the Esoteric Sect Dharma. Clearly state the achievements of this Esoteric Sect Dharma. 6. If a pagoda practices the Zen Sect Dharma, also known as Tathagata Pure Zen, it must display the following signboard. Name Zen Sect Pagoda. Practicing the Zen Sect Dharma, also known as Tathagata Pure Zen. Clearly state the achievements of this Zen Sect study. Anyone who practices the Tathagata's way must adopt the following tenet for their practice or cultivation. 1. Must be an individual with a mind desiring enlightenment. 2. Must be an individual with a mind desiring liberation. Those who practice the Tathagata's way but lack these 2 components, please do not practice the Tathagata's way. Why? Because such people are destroying the Tathagata's way.